I'm much older and married with children now, so I don't mind telling this story anymore. When I was in high school, I used to work in retail at Abercrombie & Fitch, and my manager was a corporate a-hole that designated everyone a fashion theme and said that on the days they worked, they would have to dress the part. Because I had short black hair, glasses, and tattoos, I was told that I was going to be the goth girl in the store. It wasn't much of a stretch, as I would always have my skirt, fishnets, and combat boots on. Anyway, one day, as I was working at the register, a middle-aged father and his 2 daughters came to pay for their clothes. As I was ringing them up, the father started asking personal questions, like if I had a boyfriend, saying how lucky he was, and asked if my boyfriend spoiled me with gifts and such. Then he asked what days I work at the store. I wasn't sure what to say, so I just laughed him off and handed him his receipt and called the next customer in line. I finished my shift and returned to work after my days off. When I got back, everyone was freaking out when they saw me, but since it was July 4th weekend and the store was packed, I was immediately sent to the fitting rooms wondering what everyone was talking about. One of the co-managers came by to check on me, and she mentioned a Craigslist post about me. I was like, "What are you talking about?" She brought me her phone to read the post, and I was horrified. The father of the girls I rang up days ago made a post that professed his love for me and said how he wants to be my sugar daddy and treat me like the princess I deserve to be. Somehow our regional manager got wind of this and took it as a possible threat to my safety after I mentioned that the man asked about which days I work. So for a few weeks, I had to be chaperoned to and from the store, which was an embarrassing pain in the ass. Following the Christmas, New Year's holidays that year, I left that job, never forgot what happened. I was an expat from New York working abroad. I was painfully lonely and felt that I wanted an escape from my life that didn't involve anyone from my work or any of my friends from home. I tried to find a pen pal on Craigslist by posting in the strictly platonic section in California, as I didn't want to talk to any local people and wasn't interested in speaking to people on the East Coast. I suppose it was clear from my post that I was a gay man, and I got a crapload of really creepy emails. I tried again, asking only for emails from gay men. Again, more really creepy emails, some even from women. Finally, I found a strictly platonic ad from a middle-aged woman looking for another woman to email back and forth because she didn't have friends and wanted someone to talk to. She seemed like an interesting lady, so I changed the name on the email I use for Craigslist. Of course, a throwaway email, so that it seemed more feminine than my obviously gay man one. I sent her a long email, and she responded back. We clicked immediately. We had a lot to talk about. We're both clearly super shitty feeling at the time, and lonely. Plus both of us have a love for cats. This correspondence goes on for a while without a hitch. There were a few missteps along the way, as I would sometimes send emails in the middle of the night because of the European to USA time difference, but she assumed I was just up late working. At one point, I forgot my throwaway name, but I was able to play it off by saying that I had a different given name, but everyone called me by the other name as a nickname. The woman began discussing her life as a single gay woman, acting as a caretaker for her mother. Her brother was also gay, but he was married, and the lady I was emailing clearly had a lot of weird feelings about it. I'm a queer man, so I was able to relate to a lot of what she said. We had a lot of interesting talks about religion and sexuality, our upbringings and how they formed our lives as gay people, the uncomfortable family dynamics we both enjoyed and at times struggled with. Over the next few months, we became really close. We would sometimes email several times every day, often sharing links to cool things we've read, and even exchanging pictures of interesting things we're seeing, with me being careful not to reveal that I was in Europe. It was incredibly therapeutic to connect with someone else like this, even if the person I was communicating with believed that I was also a gay young woman. Until one day, the lady sends me a long email, professing her love for this fictional person I fabricated, asking me to please come visit her on the West Coast to start our lives together. At this point, I know this lady well, and I know it's a big deal for her to ask someone to do something like this for her. I didn't really know what to do. Of course, I'd lied to her about a lot of who I was, but I also truly felt an emotional connection with her and genuinely cared about her. I knew she was serious about how she felt. I didn't know what to do. So, I went radio silent. I deleted the email address. Ultimately, I moved back to America. I have no idea what happened to that lady. And that is how I became another shitty catfish, thanks to the fucking strictly platonic page on Craigslist. I like to peruse the free section of Craigslist. One day, I was bored, and I saw that a guy was giving away 2 pygmy goats. I thought, that sounds adorable. I bet they're itty-bitty, and I can just keep them in my bathtub. I was a college student at the time, and living in an apartment with 5 or 6 other people. So, I drive over to pick them up, and when I get there, I realize that it's not quite what I was imagining. These were 2 full-sized goats, probably a good 60 to 70 pounds. It would have been easy and smart to tell the guy, sorry, I thought these were tiny bathtub-sized goats, and just leave. But I didn't do that. I take the goats from the guy and lead them into the back of my VW Cabrio. They start stomping around and punching holes in the fake leather. Whatever. I take them back to my apartment and set up a pen in my room. I get everything off the floor and throw down some old bed sheets and toss them some lettuce. Now, what? Of course, they poop everywhere, but it's just those little pellets, and that's easy cleanup. Then one of them decides to take a leak and unleashes a full-on firehouse blast of piss straight down through the bed sheets and carpet. I never could get the smell out. Time to get them out of the house. I don't have any rope, so I fashion some leashes from bungee cords and take them for a walk. It's getting to be late afternoon, and I'm starting to realize that I need to begin looking past the immediate future and figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with these 2 goats before the end of the day. Eventually, I get bored of walking them, and I've got stuff to do, so I let them loose in the gated pool area of my apartment complex. This was in early spring, so the hot tub was still covered with a tarp. I think one of the goats thought it was a hard surface and dived headlong into the hot tub. To be fair to that goat, I did that once when I was a little kid. I was at a duck pond, and I saw what looked like foamy concrete at the edge of the duck pond, and it looked like there were duck prints in it. It was just foam. I thought if the ducks could walk on it, then I could too. At least I didn't drown. But neither did the goat. By the end of the night, I finally got my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend to take them off my hands for me. I never found out what he did with them. He may have eaten them for all I know. I moved not too long after that, and I still feel kinda bad for whoever lives in that room and wakes up to the smell of goat piss-soaked carpet. About 10 years ago, I was bored one night and decided to see how the other half lived. At the time, I was a 21-year-old guy who is hetero. So, I created a fake email and posted a fake advert pretending to be a 26-year-old woman who was just out of a relationship, missed sex, that sort of thing. My inbox went nuclear. The first message arrived within about 3 minutes of the advert going live, and after that, they were coming in at an average rate of maybe 1 every 90 seconds. It was honestly horrific and overwhelming. The content of those messages simply beyond belief. Mostly creepy, presumptions, forward, and some barely literate. It was clear most of the men were just desperate as hell and who hadn't read the advert properly. One guy admitted he was married and above my desired age range by about 15 years, both of which I found completely disgusting. Some even sent photos, and most of them were very ugly people, so no wonder why they were trolling Craigslist. One guy even sent a selfie. I swear he looked like a lawn ornament garden troll and included a pornographic story about what me and him would do together, much of which was in a different font. So, he obviously copied and pasted his porn story from somewhere else. Why did these guys honestly think that sort of behavior was, one, acceptable, and or two, would get them laid, which I found extraordinary. It's a real eye-opener, and it's no wonder Craigslist is bursting with scammers and catfish, because there is a never-ending succession of perverts who will take the bait. As a side note, I have also posted other adverts as a man looking for a woman to sleep with. Guess what? The only replies I got were from forceful, barely literate men offering to screw me and take my man V. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have a true story that is scary, creepy, or horrifying, which is well written and you would like me to share, send the story to spinethrills@gmail.com.